All right. So it's that time of the year where Wargaming is very generous, where they're giving out that free Tier 9 ship. And today we'll be going over what free Tier 9 ship you'll be choosing this Christmas. So, being SATs, we'll be going over the 5 choices and the secret 6 option. So make sure you guys check that out in the timestamps below in the description and as well as the comments. So, this year they're going to be giving out the Lepanto, Izumo, Riga, Sejong, and Fletcher. And you only can pick one of those, as well as the only requirements to get this ship is that you just need to simply log into the game between December 1st and 31st, and as well as you get 2 Santa gift containers and 2 perma camos as well when you do this. So very nice of Wargaming this year. So let's get started with the first ship that is as a choice is the Lepanto. Now, Sadi, what do you think about the Lepanto as someone being able to pick it? Would you recommend it? Would you not? I think that if you're trying to get the Colombo, it helps you pass through a lot of those really bad ships like the tier 8 and the tier 7. But what are your thoughts?
So the Lepanto is a Tier 9 Italian battleship line. So yes, I would highly recommend it as it skips the rest of the line, which tends to be a more painful experience for players. But not only that, once you get to Colombo, you get arguably one of the best battleships in the game. After you put on, unquestionably so, after you put on her unique upgrade.
Hmm.
So if you getting to Lepanto means you pretty much get about a third of the way there. Lepanto's not a bad ship, so just play her out as normal. You'll get your Colombo, and then you'll see why players absolutely rate Colombo as the best battleship right now.
All right, so moving on from that is going to be the second choice option you have, which is going to be the Izumo. So I would personally recommend the Izumo if you're trying to go for more newer players that are trying to go down to the Yamato. For veteran players, you're probably going to have this one. So for newer players, I'd recommend the Izumo. Is a good sniper ship, good for training you on to angling your guns, as well as not pushing too aggressive. Because if you do push too aggressive, you're gonna get really punished. But what are your thoughts on this one, there, SAT?
Yep, Izumo is the Tier 9 Japanese battleship in the Yamato line. And I think Izumo is a pretty solid battleship. She still occasionally gets a bad rep from players who only hear rumors of her awfulness in the early days of WoWs. But right now, Izumo herself is a pretty solid ship. And I expect most players to have her already, but for newer players, it's fine to skip up to Izumo since battleship gameplay doesn't really change all that much.
Hmm.
It will teach you basically how to play the high tier battleships.
Yeah,
So yeah,
because
really good option.
a lot of people still talk really badly about the Izumo, about the past Izumo, but the new, like, improved Izumo over the buffs over the years have made her a really strong tier 9 contender for one of the better tier 9 tech tree battleships. So I definitely recommend it as an option. All right, moving on to the next ship is going to be the Riga. So I would say if you're trying to get the Petro, I'd highly recommend getting the Riga to be able to grind out the Petro easier. But what are your thoughts on that one?
Riga is the tier 9 Russian cruiser on
Hmm.
the Petropavlovsk side. And Riga is a pretty solid, well, I would say okay ship, but Petro herself is a well-known quantity in competitive scene. So much so that she often gets banned or at the very least limited in almost every season. Riga is a pretty good stepping stone, and will also likely see some use during this clan battle season, at least the first half of it.
Hmm.
If you're a competitive player or looking to get into competitive, I would definitely get the Riga since you will at least have to learn how to play Petro if she ever comes up.
Yeah, so for the Petro line itself, the tier 8 Talon and before, they play nothing like how the Riga and the Petro do. Whenever and of course the super ship, of course, but they're more open water gameplay. But once you get into the Riga and the Petro, you start doing more of that Bowin Island gameplay, which is what's really necessary for you to really master the Petro line. So I would definitely recommend the Riga 1000% on this list. All right, so moving on to the number 4 is going to be the Sejong. Uh, if you just want a free snowflake, I would say sure. If you're trying to work up the Sejong line to get snowflakes. So for Sejong, it is the tier 9 of the Pan-Asia cruiser line for the Jinan. It's not a bad cruiser, but it's just, if you're trying to get extra snowflakes, then I'd recommend it that way. But I do think there's better options for you to pick if you're looking for a actual like good tier 9 tech tree. But what are your thoughts?
Sejong is the Pan-Asian cruiser.
Hmm.
Basically, a very torp-heavy line with deep water torpedoes. Also has pretty good guns and has Pan-Asia smoke. She's just super explosive if you get shot at. Not a ship I would consider very strong, and also has a very specific play style. I don't think a lot of players would like playing her, but she is, if you do get her, you shorten the grind to the Jinan later on. If you just don't want to play if you don't want to play the line, then you can think of Sejong as a basically just grind past the first 8 ships or so, or you can just keep her in port for snowflakes.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, yeah, probably not one of the recommended ships I would get, unless you really love the torpedo cruiser playstyle.
Yep, thank you for that, SAT. So the final ship on this list is going to be the Fletcher. Now, a lot of people probably have some interest in the Fletcher, but I'm just going to say it. I think that you should not get this ship. And the reason why is, out of all the ships that are on this list, you have all cruisers and battleships, right? The destroyer gameplay, going from the lower tiers to the high tier, are such a massive difference that I wouldn't recommend a newer player just jumping to a tier 9 Fletcher. You're going to have such a hard time playing it that you're not going to enjoy it. While for the cruisers and the battleships, their playstyle stays about the same. So you're not going to suffer as much in those when you go up the tier. But for a Fletcher, oh man, you are going to absolutely suffer if you have not played higher tier destroyers and you just jump into it. It's going to be very painful. But what are your thoughts on this final choice there, SAT?
So Fletcher is a tier 9 American destroyer in the gearing line. She is also one of the oldest ships in World of Warships. Unfortunately, being as part of the free tier 9 batch, I think she's a noob trap. If you shortcut your way to Fletcher, that means you don't get the learning experience of playing through up the lines. So you both don't have a captain, and you just don't have the destroyer experience. And what happens is the player is likely gonna just go in and die in like the first few minutes because they simply don't know any better. And losing your destroyers at the very start of the match is not a great time. So yeah, for newer players, just play through the line normally. Get the Izumo instead. At least Izumo, you have a lot more forgivingness, if you make a mistake. Fletcher though, with the matchmaking and all the destroyer threats going around, you're just gonna instantly die, and you're not going to learn why, and players are just gonna flame you because you just died instantly. Not a ship I recommend. Also, for veteran players, Fletcher is also not really a great pick because you're likely already have the Fletcher or played her at some point. So the only person that would actually go for the Fletcher specifically is for veteran destroyer players who somehow have not grinded out the American destroyer line, which is pretty rare in my opinion.
Yep, so thank you for that. So we did say there was a secret 6th choice. And that secret 6th choice is that if you already have the ship that you select, so say that you already have the Izumo, right? And you select that ship as the ship you want for free. If you already have that ship, you will get 225,000 free XP. So if you already have the ship, that doesn't mean researched. It means you have to buy it. So make sure that you have the ship bought and that's in your port. And then when you select the ship and you get the free one, it will not give you the ship because you already have it. It will give you 225,000 free XP that you can then use on other things. Like you can use it to unlock new lines or use it to unlock modules or other things like that, right? So that's a sixth choice that you can do, which I would say is a really good option as well. So if you don't like any of the lines in particular, that any of the choices, you can just pick one of the ones you already have and then use that to grind down a different line, which I think overall is really nice of World of Warships to do. It's like, oh, well, you're not really interested in any of these lines. Well, you can just pick one of the ships you already have and get the free XP and then use that to grind down something else that you're interested in or to level up your commander, because free XP can be used as well to level up your commander as well. But yeah,
Yep, overall, versatile, basically a versatile choice. If you don't know what you want to get, just get the 225k free XP and decide later.
because yeah, overall, this event, I really like it being tier 9. The tier 10 one, I wasn't as big of a fan of because of the choices, right? Like the submarine, the destroyer, and the CV were really like the noob bait choices. And it really you could just tell that a lot of the people that picked those really suffered. While the tier 9 one's a little bit more forgiving since it's only one destroyer and there's more cruisers to pick from and battleships, which are overall more forgiving rather than a submarine, a destroyer, or a CV, where if you don't play those as well or at all, you're going to suffer in those matches 1000%. While cruisers and battleships are overall more a forgiving experience. But yep, that is going to be it. Thank you guys all watching today's video. If you guys have any questions or concerns, definitely let us know in the comments down below. Do greatly appreciate you guys. Also, the upcoming holiday season, there's going to be so many videos coming out with that, with the Seal Will event, the Santa containers, what's going to be good getting those around those times. So make sure you guys are looking out for those. But I want to get this video out so you guys are able to have some thoughts on what ships you're going to be wanting starting on December 1st, whenever that gets started. So thank you guys all for watching and see you guys in the next video. Deuces.